Senior Report thanks Edmund Besch of Bristol Burgess Insurance Agency, 65 East Main Street, Westfield, for his generous grant to provide news to seniors. Funding is provided by a grant from New York State Senator Catherine M. Young, representing Western New York's 57th District with a local office in Olean. Funding is provided by a grant from Absolute Care of Westfield, committed to returning the favor to those who spent a lifetime caring for others. Absolute Care is located at 26 Cass Street in Westfield. Dave Cass and Rick Newell provide funding on behalf of the Lakeview Hotel and Restaurant at the Docks, located on Water Street near the lake in Mayville. Senior Report with Reed Powers thanks Westfield's Schultz Chevy for a generous grant to inform seniors of important news. Over 50 years of service to Westfield by Chevrolet, Schultz Chevy across from the school. The physicians of Jamestown Primary Care are happy to sponsor the Senior Report. From the Access Channel 5 television studio in Mayville, it's Senior Report with Reed Powers. Senior Report is broadcast live throughout northern Chautauqua County on Saturday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. each week. Call in and share a thought, make a comment, ask a question, or simply wish someone a happy birthday on Chautauqua County's only live call-in senior program. Since 1995, Reed has been bringing viewers hundreds of interesting guests, informing the community on a variety of subjects. Here's the host of the show, Reed Powers.
And good morning. What a beautiful day we have here in Chautauqua County. We had our first real freeze. We're up here in the county seat, Mayville, right now, and it is cold up here, below 32. We have with us a special guest and a very well-known fellow in upstate New York especially, Nathan Shinagawa, who's going to be, he is running for the Congress of the United States, and he will be here to talk about anything you want to hear about. Remember, this is your magic carpet into the world, into the universe. Just call in. There's your number coming up. And this show is live and ready to roll every Saturday morning, 9 to 10. So give us a call if you feel like it. Everybody calls in today. I'll give you $5 off at the that beautiful little restaurant at the foot of the hill, the Lakeview. How about that? I'll give you $10 off. How about that? Lots of things happening in the world as we look around. We see the counterattack going on between Obama and his opponents. Mitt Romney, I don't know. You know, his dad was famous. His dad was a big politician, and so was his mother. His mother ran for Congress herself, for Senate. At any rate, it goes on and on. I watched the campaign, I should say debate, quote, it's not really, it's just campaigning for each other, on TV between Ryan and our vice president, and it was not really that interesting. I thought it was kind of dull. Not Ryan, what's his name? Biden is quite a guy. He laughed a lot. Okay, fellas. That's going on, and of course the certain number of missing children is going on, and the divorces in Hollywood and all that nonsense. They don't talk much about the wars we've been dealing with over in Afghanistan, excepting very rarely will you see anything about that. Remember, it's costing us billions. It's costing us deaths in our families. The flower, the fruit of our next generation is being slaughtered over there. And let me ask you something. Who makes money? Oh, anybody who makes arms. The arms industry is doing very well. And since now they control the rich and powerful control the television. They're not going to tell you anything to remind you this is going on, which is why you don't see much about this horrible war out there, and never saw much about the other wars, and who knows what happens next. Looks like it might be Iran. Who knows? Or not Iran, but that rotten little country over there is killing hundreds of thousands of their own people. Yeah, yeah. Good old Syria. Not Liberia. We took care of them. Okay, fellas, so it goes on and on and on. Upstate New York, we're here quietly in Chautauqua County, the most beautiful county in the state. And the French, when they came through here and buried their gold somewhere, which has still been, as far as we know, not been found up in the hills, somewhere up around the creek up there. I don't know, in their journals and their logs, they say it is probably the Garden of Eden. This is the most beautiful county, beautiful place. And the Iroquois lived here, of course, all 6 tribes, and there were almost 7. They wiped out the Erie. So, at any rate, on we go. Chautauqua County surviving, but we do have a huge deficit coming up, and it's only one way to solve it. Folks, I want you to know we are the highest taxed county in the United States, and in New York especially, of course, on a percentage of your property. And at this point, they're going to have to raise taxes again, and there'll be another massive move to Pennsylvania. Incidentally, we have very generous welfare laws, though, and our Medicaid is called the Cadillac of Medicaids. You know, when you reach my age, or hit your 90s even, in New York State under Medicaid, you can have a heart transplant when you're 93. Can you imagine that? Although they usually disqualify you because you got something wrong with you. You're probably senile, among other things. All right, enough said. Craziness all around and happiness all around up here in Chautauqua County. The nuts are falling. The black walnuts are all over the place. The fruits are coming in. Get your tomatoes in quick and your peppers, because it's going to be a really frosty coming up month. Believe me, we had a snowstorm that dropped 2 feet on us a few years back. It took me 11 hours to get through Buffalo on Amtrak because of that. I was heading down to New York. Well, here we go. I have some good news. This is the these are the senior clubs we have up here in Chautauqua County, and every town, every village, every church, most of them have a senior group, and they're the best. I've got a few things I want to read here, and I'm going to, let's say, do I need the cheaters? Probably not. I've changed my font up to 16 now. I can see. The Mayville Seniors, we're right here in Mayville now, and they have a terrific bunch of folks. And I want to say hello to Chaplain Diane Goodrich. She gives the grace, the Lord's Prayer, and whatever during the meets, as do all senior groups, actually. Joyce Ayers is the president over there, and she wants us to remember the birthdays for 2 life members, Loretta Spielman and Betty Waters. And their special day will be Rose Lammer, John Crow. Wedding anniversaries, Jim and Arlene Kurtz, who are very old friends of ours and members of our community, and they do a lot of wonderful work for their community. They say you may pay your dues anytime. Most clubs are peanut dues, $3, $5 or something, and most of them also have a policy that if they're life members, they're paid up for life. That's it. All right. Next time they're going to have John Ward. John Ward is running for judge, a very, very well-known judge around here. Been here forever and ever and ever. Lakeshore Seniors, that's a club over in Fredonia, I might add. They meet at the Dunkirk Senior Center, which is an old school, which is fantastic. It has an indoor, wonderful indoor place that they sort of set up through the corridors and the halls where you can do a lap all the way around the school. And it's wonderful for people who like to jog and run. Very few of us run much anymore. We're down to jogging and walking. But incidentally, any little exercise like that is very good for you. If you can just walk, go out and walk a few blocks every night or every morning, and it'll take care of you. The helper of the day over there, Stella Mikulak, and others who assisted. I like that. The kitchen committee, that's the people that actually do the coffee and the cakes and everything, which is the most important part of it, of course. October 17th is the next meeting, and you'll meet Mary Hayes. She'll escort you in and introduce you around. And if you have somebody in your family, or so you know, even a person around the block, take them by the arm and lead them over to their senior center, because boy, I'll tell you, brand new fellowship, new support group, it's fantastic. Forestville, that's the Pioneer Social Club, and president over there is Carol Pierce. If you want to get involved, give her a call. Happy birthday to Grace Johnson, June Gostomsky, Logan, Henry Kozora, Vicky Stelmack, Donna Nobles, John Reed, Jerry Bushtap, and Arlene Miller. What a bunch of folks. Miller announced an open house for birthdays on October 20th, Saturday. That's come next Saturday, from 1 to 4 p.m. in Union Hall at Cushing Street in Fredonia. You know, Union Hall is a famous old place, I might add. The food committee for the next meeting on November 15th is going to be Tony Akara. Oh, incidentally, I wanted to mention the Sheridan VFW Auxiliary gave a very generous donation, a priority and first-class postage to be used to send out packages, which the Pioneer Club is doing, to seniors and soldiers, and especially to the military families. Members of this group are asked to continue to clip and hand in usable coupons for the troops. It's one little way to thank our military families for their gift to us, for what they are sacrificing. Incidentally, they use the stamps. They're running out of stamps to send this over. It costs $1 to send this stuff over. They're going to have a leaded glass decoration is given to by Dorothy Schneider to be used for a raffle, and that'll be used for Christmas gifts for a needy family. And incidentally, these senior groups really do give a lot to their community. Silver Creek, Ed Newman over there, we all know him. The officers for the 213th were installed Tuesday, and as many officers have been reelected now or elected, and you get the same folks off and doing the same job. Happy birthday over there to all the seniors, I might add, who are recognized October 16th at 1 p.m. at the center. Sinclairville. The Sinclairville seniors meet once a month for a luncheon and program, and at a recent luncheon, John and Joan Reesley provided the music. You get groups that come in, such as Doc Hamels, Doc and Bill. They do Irish ballads, and they are terrific. They came here and did a round for us one day recently. Eileen Palmer Titus is the president over there, and if you want to get involved again, call her up. Say, come on, I want to bring somebody over. I want them to be given priority treatment. That's the way you get people in. Titus led them all in the Lord's Prayer, and they had a wonderful time. Millions of school children say the Pledge of Allegiance, which incidentally has jumped from 26 words to 31 now, including Under God, which has some people pretty excited. And when I was a kid, everybody automatically jumped up, and on the loudspeaker, somebody led the pledge, one of the student body, and we all said the pledge. Today, I hear, I'm not sure of this, I haven't been in school lately, they don't do that in some schools. Can you believe that? Yes, I believe it. Dynamics. Happy birthday over to Susan Sipos, and all the other people having happy birthdays. Next meeting of the group will be November 13th at noon at the Sinclairville Fire Hall, incidentally. What a bunch. United Senior Citizens. This is a group of a lot of seniors who are leaders in the clubs, and anybody else who wants to follow in. They have 80, 90 people at a meeting. It's quite a bunch. Charles St. George has been doing this, running that place for 1,000,000 years, and he is just so giving of his time for seniors and senior affairs. And remember, the seniors help out other people in the community, so it really spreads. It's widespread. Happy birthday, Anita Globowski and Spencer, for your wonderful birthday coming up. All right. St. George announced that all the members of the United Senior Citizens who are veterans would be served a free lunch. Yes, there is a free lunch. Dues are due. You have to get them in by December 1st if you want the cheap price on the Christmas party. Big deal, too. Next meeting, annual Thanksgiving luncheon, November 12th at noon. They're telling me that I'm finished. I do have more stuff here, but they say there is no more time. I've run through my time, and so it's all over. and they want to run a public service announcement, so here's an announcement just for you.
They hold so much potential, and we'd give anything to make sure they're taken care of. They're the reason we go to work, the reason we stay home, the reason we worry, laugh, cry, and love. Our children and seniors represent the dreams and hopes of all of us. At the United Way of Southern Chautauqua County, we're working to build a better dream and create a greater hope. When you give to the United Way campaign, you're creating those dreams and hopes too. Let's build a better tomorrow. Invest in today.
There you go. Live United. United Way. They've been blockaded by a certain group in certain states because of their stand on Boy Scouts. I should say the stand the Boy Scouts have on gays. They tell me they're changing that, though. Used to be they spread disdain and dislike for gays. Okay, friends, we have with us a special guest, Nate Shinagawa. He is a county legislator, not in Chautauqua County, but a little ways away, and he's running for our Congress against Mr. Reed. He is here to talk about the Congress. He's not going to campaign, of course. This is not a campaign program. We're not allowed to do politics per se. But he's going to talk about some of the things he sees in Congress that he doesn't like and that we don't like, and some of the possible cures for it that he sees. And he's going to talk a little bit about himself and about his family and about his dog. You do have a dog.
My family has a dog.
Your family?
Yeah.
Nate Shinagawa. Well, Nate, where'd you come from first? Where were you born and raised?
Yeah. Well, I was born and raised over in Northern California, and I grew up in Sonoma County. Then about 10 years ago, I decided to come over to Tompkins County to go to school. And at that time, my entire family actually came with me. The reason why is I have a little brother who's a special needs child, has intellectual disabilities. And the schools in California didn't really provide a good education for him. And we knew that in New York, that the public education, especially the special education, would help him out. And so the whole family decided to make the move over 10 years ago. And then about 7 years ago, I decided to run for the county board. I got involved in the county board, and I fought to keep a nursing home open called Lakeside Nursing Home. That was one of the first things I did. Then I also joined the Lifelong Senior Center board, where I fought to basically help seniors with programming and classes so that they could keep active in their older age. We also did a program to help people with that very confusing Medicare Part D program as well.
Which incidentally has become more confusing.
It has become even more confusing
because of the epic situation in New York State.
Yes, that's right.
Which helps seniors.
Yeah. And so what happened is that I got interested in healthcare, and so I got a master's in health administration, and I started working at the Guthrie Clinic over in Sayre, Pennsylvania, just over the New York State border. And we actually serve mostly a New York State population. And so there, when it comes to making sure that we have quality and affordable health care for our every American, especially our seniors, that's something that I've worked on the ground, helping out, making sure that our health care is the best that we can provide to the people of this country.
Well, I noticed in watching the national television and the debates and what have you, that they tell me, incidentally, Obama got lambasted. I wonder how he's going to do Tuesday.
Gosh, yes.
I think he's going to hit him hard this time,
That's right.
Bring up the question of health care.
Yeah, sure.
They have decided, the Republicans stand firm to do away with Medicare as we know it, which covers people who are very, very ill or people who are seniors and can't really care for themselves very well. Yeah. And they're going to hand out a little voucher, and then it's going to cost those seniors another $6,000 to $10,000.
Oh,
God. Nate, the family cost for a family policy today is $15,700, almost $16,000.
And those costs go up 5–10% a year too.
And the funny thing is, we're the only country, developed country in the world that pays insurance companies to give us back health care.
Oh, that's right.
And they cream off about 30% on average. They
That's
pass
right.
laws that say you can't keep more than 30%. This goes to profits and, of course, bloated salaries and all kinds, and the administration, which is insane.
That's right.
All the paperwork and whatever. And so here we are. We don't have a national health care yet, and we are paying these insurance companies enormous amounts, just horrendous amounts. And I think it's about time, when you get into Congress, I hope that you would certainly change that.
Yeah.
Or do what you can.
Absolutely, Reed.
Because, you know, well, first of all, the trouble is they're going to tempt you. The healthcare industries give up about $500 million to Congress every year.
$55,000 to Congressman Reed, too.
They're among others, right?
Yeah, among others.
There's a little dig. Yeah, well, they are paying off Congress to keep the system, which is the only one in the world like this. And it's outrageous that we're paying 30% at least of our health care costs to the insurance companies.
That's right.
This could be well used for other things.
Yeah. And Reed, if I might add,
go ahead.
You know, I actually used to work for a state assemblywoman, and my job was to be the guy that would fight the insurance companies on behalf of her constituents. And so I would be the guy that would actually call them up and say, you know, how could you deny this family this surgery for their kids, you know, cancer that they have, right? And I would do those type of fights on a regular basis, which really, I think, makes me very well prepared to take on those insurance companies, because I've already done it at the local level, and when I get into Congress, I want to take that fight there to make sure that these insurance companies aren't getting their way, and instead what we're doing is making sure that our doctors and our nurses and our hospitals have the resources they need to provide the best care for all of you.
Okay. Hopefully, would you be interested, would you vote for universal health care, meaning that no more insurance companies?
Yeah.
You can buy your insurance from the federal government, just like Medicaid works. Which doesn't cost, you know, the overhead for Medicaid is 5%, not 30%?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, you got that right, Reed, exactly. So if you look at the Medicare program, the overhead is estimated by the Congressional Budget Office to be anywhere from 2 to at most 5%. And you look at the private insurance sector, and they've got up to 30% overhead, as you're talking about, Reed. And so the Medicare program is run very efficiently. And so that's why I don't like the proposal from Paul Ryan that also Congressman Reed is supporting, you know, that turns it into a voucher program. Because why would you go from an inefficient system to a system that, why would you go from a system that works to an inefficient private system? It doesn't make sense. We should keep the current Medicare program. We should improve upon that existing program, and we should make it make sure that it can be there for the long run for our senior citizens.
Yes. Well, the trouble with the Medicare program with the Republicans are telling us that we're not going to change anything. The hell of it is, they're not going to change the inflation either.
Yes.
And before long, it becomes disconnected, just as Medicaid has. And many are, you know, there's a whole industry down in Long Island where they make little brass signs. We do not accept Medicaid for all the doctors.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Medicaid has become disconnected now from the real market, and a doctor is not going to give you $60 worth of service for $5 or $10 or whatever the Medicaid plans to pay you today. And of course, they've already decided to cut the health care centers back 10%, which is going to be murder on the state level. And God knows what next. Nate Shinagawa running for Congress for our area, and I think he'd make a fine congressman. They tell me, first of all, at least you have some integrity. Until you get to Congress, we got to, you know.
Thank you, Reed.
I used to, one of our current congressmen, I will say, I'm not mentioning names, I said, you know, everybody, the rich and powerful have taken over Congress. Basically, everybody, there's multimillionaires. The reason they're not going to change the taxes, or if they're going to change, they're going to lower taxes for the rich, is because they're all rich, and they support, their families are rich, they support it. And this congressman said, well, I'm not rich, when I had him on the show. And I said, well, give it a few weeks, you will be. He never showed up again. He never showed up again. We had him, he came a couple of times when he's running, but that was it. Whenever I called his office, oh, he's a little busy, he's going to be doing things, he can't, we'll get back, and never.
Well, I will come back, Reed, definitely.
Okay. So at any rate, the questions that we do have about the Congress right now, it's first of all painted as being moribund because of the Republican Democratic opposition on many things, and they claim, the Republicans claim the bills are bad, the Democrats claim you're stalling, you're trying to mess up things so it'll look bad for Obama in the next election coming up. And things, Obama does have his own problems. He made a lot of promises, and he has not been able to deliver on many of them. Not maybe because of his problem, but of course the ultimate comes down to the rotten economy. And the Republicans say you've messed up the economy, it's terrible. And he said you started it, it's your fault to the Republicans under Bush. And so God knows, what are they going to do about this moribund situation? What do you think would happen?
Well, I mean, Reed, I think that if we're going to really turn around Congress, what we need to do is we need to have an attitude adjustment in Washington. I'm a county legislator, and at the local level, what happens is that the buck stops there when the federal government and the state government can't make the right decisions. And so they shift a lot of the costs, the mandate costs and the other costs, down to us at the local level.
Half the Medicaid
Yeah, exactly. You got it. Exactly. Which I had to deal with as a county legislator.
Up here, that's one of the reasons we're the poor, probably one of the poorer counties in New York State, because our Medicaid costs are horrendous.
Horrendous, absolutely.
Because we have so many seniors. Half of Medicaid is seniors, and the rest of it goes to people who have no insurance. And more companies are saying, forget your insurance.
That's
Goodbye.
right.
Buy your own
it's
insurance.
getting tougher. That's right.
Or just die.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm a county legislator, and so it means that I've had to work at the local level with Democrats and Republicans to get things done. And it's that type of attitude that I think we need to have in Washington. My other background is that I'm a hospital administrator, and so my hospital is ranked in one of the top 100 out of 5,000 hospitals in the whole country.
Which is very good. We got a couple of calls. You want to take a
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely.
Okay, top 100. Well, let's go. Good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Mr. Shinagawa, how you doing, sir?
Well, how about you?
Very good. I just have a quick question for you.
Sure. Yeah.
I am wondering why you think Tom Reed won't debate you in Chautauqua County.
That's a good question. First off, I think it's shocking that the whole western part of this district, Allegheny, Cattaraugus, and Chautauqua counties, they're not going to be able to see a public debate between me and Reed. And it's not because of me. I've accepted at least 3 or 4 debates publicly here in Chautauqua County. The problem is that Mr. Reed, Congressman Reed, doesn't want to debate publicly. The only debate he's accepted in the western part of this district is unfortunately a closed-door debate with just the Jamestown Post-Journal. And I think the reason why he doesn't want to publicly debate is that he's afraid to talk about his record. I mean, he's voted twice now for this Ryan budget that, as Reed has been talking about here, will actually move Medicare into this voucher system. In other words, move Medicare from this public program that's very successful to a private system. And that private system is going to benefit the insurance companies and, I believe, increase costs for seniors. And there's many studies that back that up. And so I think Congressman Reed is very, very concerned about being able to justify his voting record. And that's why he's afraid to debate us here in Chautauqua County. And I think that's absolutely unfortunate for the people here. In Chautauqua County, we're much like the rest of the Southern Tier. We are tired of being ignored by New York State. Oftentimes the attention goes to New York City or Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, right? But in the Southern Tier, we're forgotten. And so as a representative, I think it's my job to give people a voice here. But when Congressman Tom Reed doesn't want to debate here in Chautauqua County, it means to me that he doesn't want to be a voice for this region because he's not willing to listen to the people of this region. And I think that's a big problem, and that's not the type of attitude I want to have in a representative.
What do you think? Viewer?
Excellent. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Does that answer your question?
Sure did. Great response. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Great. As you talked about the district, your congressional district is changing now because you talk about Buffalo being important. We were a part of Buffalo right up until this year now.
Sure.
They tell me it was Cheney, made a phone call up here and talked them into putting this agricultural community, which under Houghton, remember him? Terrific.
Yes,
Amo was terrific.
Amo was great,
But we had we were an agricultural district, and suddenly, boom, we're now part of Buffalo, New York. And the chances of getting anything, well, they keep telling us, oh, we're doing everything, we love Chautauqua and so forth, so on, but I'm not so sure. Now that we're going to have our own industrial base done away with in terms of Buffalo and put back into the agricultural base, I think we'll do much better.
Yeah. And
Hello.
Sorry.
Hello, Emil.
And also, I wanted to add, too, that Chautauqua County is so important to me in this election. that not only am I going to have an office in Chautauqua County, just like Brian Higgins has an office now, but what actually I want to do is that I want to move my headquarters for my entire district to Jamestown, just to let this county know and the western part of this district know that this is a very important area to me. Congressman Reed right now, his district headquarters is in his hometown in Corning, but I want our district headquarters to be here in Chautauqua County.
We got a phone call. Want to take one?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Well,
yeah.
You know, this is your time. You can
Yeah,
talk.
yeah.
Good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
My question is regarding public access. In the presidential debate, Mr. Romney said that he would like to, cut funding for PBS, and I was wondering what you thought about that.
He's going to kill Big Bird, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's I actually I was watching. I like learning about history. And I was looking at old congressional hearings from the 60s and the 70s. And in the 70s, I believe, early 70s, there's this great congressional hearing. And if you look up Mr. Rogers' Senate on YouTube, right, you can watch it. And it's a hearing where Mr. Rogers basically went and talked to the United States Senate and said why it's so important that he does his kind of programming. And the reason why he said was that PBS is the only kind of programming where they teach young people how to respect themselves, right? How to have fun without resorting to things like violence or goofy, or like cartoons that just bop people over the head, right? Now, what he wanted is he wanted to really educate people, and PBS gave that opportunity. And now what you see is that PBS has grown over the years, and you have Sesame Street and Reading Rainbow and all these programs, and what they're done is they're used around the entire world. It's kind of part of our diplomatic mission around the world, where we teach people about the wonderful American values that we have. And it's changing the way that people see the world, and as a result also they see America in a more positive way. And so I think this is money that's well spent, and I think it's too bad that it's something that has been put on the chopping block by Mr. Romney.
And it's not just TV, but arts and
yes,
many other
absolutely.
Aspects of our life. And to their credit, PBS has, I should say, Sesame Street has become so popular.
Yeah.
It's probably true that they can make it on their own.
Yeah.
All they have to do is sell ads, and everybody's going to take ads with Big Bird.
Sure, yes.
But
yes.
at any rate, it's still a mean proposition, and it speaks very poorly of our United States Congress, which cuts back in the arts in general.
Yeah.
And I think it's a horrific idea. I hope they abandon that. Well, actually, he said, I think Mr. Romney keeps switching. He keeps flip-flopping. He flip-flopped on abortion, then reflopped, and now he's flip-flopped back.
Yeah, he could have a debate with himself sometime, right?
Right. That's an interesting way to put it. But at any rate, I am not, incidentally, I'm a lifetime Republican. I'm not sitting here to push Mr. Shinagawa by any means, but some of the things he says ring pretty true to me, and some of the things I hear coming out of the Republican, my own party, are, let's say they mystify me. We're with Nate Shinagawa. Nate, you wanted to talk a little bit about the funding of our hospitals and healthcare system. Again, I want to get back to that because you got cut off.
Oh, sure.
Especially in terms of the Medicare, which covers seniors, but not just seniors, but people who are woefully injured or terribly unable to care for themselves. And the 47% of the people that Romney was talking about, which includes half of them, incidentally, are retired seniors who aren't exactly feeding at the public trough. They put their money into Social Security for 50 or 60 years, for God's sake. And we have the terribly handicapped, which they can't work and they shouldn't be paying taxes because they can't earn the money. But why would you include these poor people into a clump of people that really we shouldn't care about because they don't pay taxes and they're on the public welfare system, which is not what I would describe Social Security as. What do you think about that? The costs.
Yes. Well, first I want to say, Reed, that the Medicare program is so important to me, and just that's based from my own experience. Not just as a hospital administrator, where I work to provide good quality care for our patients, but my grandmother actually, when she got cancer when she was about 76. And what happened is that I had a job to go down to Washington to work on a presidential campaign. And I found out that my grandmother had cancer, and I decided that I wouldn't take the job and I would spend the last 3 months of her life with her. And I went to the doctor's office there with her. We went through chemotherapy. Unfortunately, you know, she passed away. And it was I mean, it was a very tough moment for me when because I was only 21 years old at that time. But it made me realize the importance of this Medicare program that we have, because if it wasn't for Medicare, my grandfather would have been left with thousands of dollars of medical bills trying to take care of my grandmother.
Speaking of thousands of dollars of medical bills, statistically, 8 out of 10 families of seniors go bankrupt because of health care costs.
Yes.
8 out of 10 today.
Yes, that's right.
Because one or the other has long-term care, and it's not covered. You know, Medicare does not cover long-term care.
It doesn't,
Temporarily, but not regularly.
And
Medicaid doesn't come into effect, which does cover long-term care, until they picked your bones clean.
I mean, that's why, you know, I think what we need to do is we need to find ways to have cost savings in the Medicare and Medicaid programs that aren't cuts to Medicare and Medicaid. And so because these programs are so important. And so what we could do is we can actually reform the system itself. And this is what I've done as a hospital administrator, is that right now we have a healthcare system that's based upon quantity. That's why when you go to the doctor, sometimes you see your doctor maybe for 5 minutes if you're lucky, 10 minutes at the most.
Sometimes in the hospital, he came, like what happened to me once, he came to the door and said, "Hi, how you doing, Reed?" and walked down $50.
Yeah, that's right.
That was his visitation, $50.
Yeah, and that's because right now the healthcare system is based on volume. It's based on how many patients you see, how many tests that you order. And instead of doing that, what we should do is we should have a system based on quality. So that way doctors get paid based on how well they treat their patients.
It's like in China. Right. You know, they don't pay the doctor when they're sick.
Oh, interesting.
He's not doing his job. They pay him when they're
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Oh, that's the way they used to do it. They may have changed that. But here we got Nate Shinagawa, and I got a couple of calls. You want to take a call?
Yeah, please.
Good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning. My question for your guest is, well, it's not exactly a question. It's an observation, and I wonder if there's a reason for it.
Can she make an observation?
Oh, please,
There we go. Observe all you want.
Well, most people I talk to about the healthcare situation seem to almost always say, the doctors, they make all this money. Well, when I speak to my doctor, and I've spoken to other doctors, most of them are in favor of this national health care bill. And when we speak of all the money they make, they go to school for many, many more years than most people go to school. And they have to pay for that schooling and take out loans for that.
Average doctor comes out now owing $100,000.
At least.
To start.
Yeah, at least, yeah.
And that's for, you know, if you don't go into big specialties and things like that. But anyways, they are earning their money. My doctor is in the office at all hours, often starts early in the morning, and he's there till late in the evening. And like I said, most of the doctors that I have spoken to personally are all for this health care. Is there a reason for this?
National health care, universal health care. Nate, what about that?
Yeah. Well, I think it goes back to what I was just talking about. You know, these doctors, some doctors get paid very, very well. You know, especially people that are surgeons, especially cardiovascular surgeons.
They're all down in New York City, of course. Try to find them up here.
But most of our doctors, they're primary care physicians. They're internal medicine specialists, right? They're people that don't get paid that much compared to those high-level kind of surgeons.
Right. I'm talking about our local.
Yeah. So our local doctors.
To
and I think the reason why the local doctors are in favor of the Affordable Care Act, right, is because the Affordable Care Act begins to do those reforms of exactly what I'm talking about. Instead of moving to the volume system, instead of having this volume system that we have right now, where you get paid based on how many patients you see, the Affordable Care Act starts moving the incentives in healthcare to actually being so that you get paid on how well you treat your patients. And what that means is that we actually pay doctors better at the primary care level, right? We also pay for more preventive medicine. We pay for primary care. We pay for chronic disease management, like managing things like diabetes. And by moving the incentives towards helping people and improving quality, that improves the healthcare system overall. It improves pay for the doctors that don't get paid as much as the surgeons, right? But what it does is it moves the incentives towards the quality side. And that actually saves money in the long run in the healthcare system. Because if you have cancer, right, if you catch it early on, then you catch it early on. But if you don't catch it early on, then it gets worse, it spreads, and then it costs expensive surgeries, chemotherapy to deal with it. So prevention works. And that's why I think these physicians are in favor of it.
A question I wanted to interject here as we're talking, does that program still place us in the hands of the insurance companies?
Well, yes, this is...
you can't get us out of the insurance company.
Reed, you're right. And this is actually my main complaint with the Affordable Care Act, is that the Affordable Care Act still relies very heavily on this private insurance model. And I think my suggestion would have been to improve the Medicare system, improve the payments in the Medicare system, and make the Medicare system accessible to more folks and individuals, right? I think that would have been the way to go. However, with the Affordable Care Act, the good thing about the Affordable Care Act when it comes to private insurance is that the Affordable Care Act now protects patients from the worst of insurance companies. Like, you remember this whole thing about pre-existing conditions, right? You know, I have, if I may tell just a quick story, you know, I have a supporter of mine. Her husband's a construction worker. He had a job, lost his job, immediately got a new job. So that's good. He was immediately able to find a new job. But in the process, he went from one insurance plan to a new insurance plan. The problem is that they had a son who had a brain tumor. And so that son, when he had that brain tumor and they got new health insurance, what did the insurance company say to him and to that family?
Pre-existing.
They said, you got it. It's a pre-existing condition. And so now they were going to potentially go into hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt to save their own kid's life. Now, the Affordable Care Act, or what people like to call Obamacare, that makes it illegal now. You know, and that's why this bill is so important, because it protects us from some of the worst things about insurance companies. And so when I hear, you know, people like Congressman Reed and Mitt Romney, you know, attacking the Affordable Care Act, well, I want to ask them, you know, what are you going to do to the families like that? Because there are thousands of families like that if it wasn't for this Affordable Care Act, would be in debt right now.
I'd like to add one more thing. Speaking of the money and so forth, when we hear about Medicare, and apparently President Obama is being blamed for taking $700 and so many thousand dollars out of Medicare.
$700 billion, almost $1 trillion. What about that? I'd like to ask about that too.
Could I wasn't quite done. But as I understand it, what he didn't take it out of Medicare. What he did was he went after the insurance companies because they were overcharging for certain things and so forth, and cut it that way, not to the people that are actually getting the like me, who is on Medicare, and so forth. It didn't affect me at all. All it did was to help reduce the cost of Medicare because of overcharging.
Yeah, we're here. Thank you,
that's right.
caller. So, yeah, do you agree with that?
Yes, well, that's true. That it did eliminate those overcharges from the insurance companies. And then the other big way in which the Affordable Care Act found cost savings through Medicare is that they eliminated a lot of the subsidies for insurance companies through the Medicare Advantage program. It doesn't get rid of Medicare Advantage, but it just says, look, if you're the private sector, you should be able to do it efficiently, and you don't need taxpayer dollars going to these private insurance companies who are already making billions to support Medicare Advantage.
Almost $1 trillion a year now.
Right. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
almost $1 trillion a year with these insurance model, as you say. Something's going to change. I don't know. I don't know if we can ever break free, but Congress has got to do it, and they're not doing it.
No, they're not.
Nate Shinagawa, thank you, caller. I'm going to send you $5 off at a little gift over at that beautiful restaurant, the Lakeview at the foot of the hill, and also I think it's also. They have a fish restaurant too.
Oh yeah. Oh good. Yeah.
They have twin restaurants, and the other one is used to be the Docks, but now I think it's I don't know. Valentino's. Yeah, Valentino's. All right, guys. Nate is telling us something about how it runs. Medicare. I wanted to speak on Medicare briefly. Medicare is a program that covers people who are not covered by Medicaid or I mean Medicaid I want to talk about. You know, that's the confusion, Medicaid, Medicare.
Sure,
we keep talking about these two programs. Medicare is for seniors and disabled. Medicaid is for anybody who needs it, and it's more and more coming up here. Now, they tell us we have the Cadillac of care here, but the Obama administration has been accused by the Republicans of trying to expand the health care program by making the limits much higher on Medicaid so more people can qualify for it.
Yeah.
We got a phone call.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Let's do the phone call because we hate to leave people waiting.
Sure. Sounds good.
Thank you, caller.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello.
Good morning, Reed. Good morning, Nate.
Hi.
This
Good morning.
is Linda Spalding. Very interesting topic, health insurance and health care, Medicare. I have a question about the ads that are on television right now. And, of course, there's lots of ads and lots of controversy. But I would like you to address something because I'm not sure what the real situation is.
Yeah.
They've been advertising that the Affordable Care Act will increase the amount of money we have to pay for insurance.
Yeah.
Is that true?
No, that's not true. What the Affordable Care Act actually does is it caps the amount of profits that insurance companies can make. And this was originally started in California. What happened is that in California, they decided to test it out. Because remember how Reed was just talking about how the overhead in Medicare is only 5%, but in the private insurance sector, it's 30%. Well, that overhead is things like CEO pay for big insurance companies, right?
Profits.
And it's profits. It's profits. So what the Affordable Care Act does is it actually says these insurance companies, their overhead is capped now at 15%, and that now just went into effect. Right, so it caps their profits.
Did they
so
actually elect that? I mean,
yeah, that actually was passed as part of the Affordable Care Act. Yeah. Now, the unintended consequence of that is that many insurance companies try to game the system by increasing premiums before that rule got into effect this year. And so that's why some places had increases in premiums. And that's, I think, something that we need to fight at the court level.
That's why mine went up 50%?
Yeah, and that's why, exactly. And so they were gaming the system, and we have to go after them for gaming the system. And I think we can.
And
but their profits now are capped, which means that our money that we're going to these insurance companies, it's going to go to care rather than profits for these CEOs.
I see.
Yeah.
Another ad is that the small businesses can't afford the new premiums with the Affordable Care Act. Is that all part of the same situation that you're explaining?
Yeah. So actually, this part is a little bit different. Now, so with small businesses, keep in mind if you're a small business that's under 50 people, the Affordable Care Act doesn't tell you to do anything that you don't want to do. You don't have to provide health insurance for your workers if you're under 50 people, because they know.
Affordable Care Act. Isn't that what they call Obamacare?
Yeah, Obamacare.
And
Obama.
I know Obama likes the term.
He calls it Obamacare
God
too.
You.
I know.
Yeah, he says,
I still can't get used to saying it, but all right. But when I say the Affordable Care Act, I mean Obamacare. All right. But if you're under 50 people, which is most of your mom and pop stores, right? You know, I mean, if you look at the local diner down the street, they don't have 50 people working, right? Maybe they've got 15, 20 people at most. So those places, they don't have to do anything under the Affordable Care Act. But this is the great thing about the Affordable Care Act. If they want to provide health insurance for their workers, they actually get a 35% credit to cover the cost of that. And then if they want, and by 2014, that credit moves up to 50% for those small businesses. And so this bill actually helps the small businesses that want to be able to get health insurance for themselves as the owners and for their employees. But when the Republicans talk about it, they're talking about, because remember, they have a different definition of small businesses. I think of small businesses as 50 people, 100 people type of places. Their definition of small businesses includes hedge funds, for example, which make billions of dollars a year, right? And so what they're talking about is this very small group, small number of small businesses, right? That yes, they're now being asked to provide health insurance for their workers. And because they're over 50 employees, and because they pay their employees a lot of money, the Affordable Care Act says you should be able to afford insurance. And the Republicans don't like that. And they see that as a
They don't like Obamacare because it's called Obamacare. And as I said, he likes the term now. He says, I'm very proud of this, actually.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, caller, does that help answer your question?
It does. And it's important that people get informed about all these things.
Oh, yes, definitely.
I've noticed through the years you really can't pay too much attention to ads.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
One of the things that I'm curious about is why Romney keeps saying Obamacare is abomination. In essence, it's horrible, bad, we got to stop it. First thing I'll do is overturn it, when it has so many good things in it. And incidentally, it almost shadows his program that he had when he was a governor.
Yes, yeah, that's right. It's it's classic Romney arguing versus himself.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Nate.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, and it was Linda, by the way.
That.
Right?
Yeah, Linda Spalding.
Yeah, thank you so much, Linda.
She has the sweetest old man who lives with her. You know, he's the nicest guy.
All right,
Doug
wonderful.
Spalding.
Nice to meet you.
Well, thank you again, and have a great week. The sun is shining. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah,
yes,
thank you so much. Yeah.
No ice fishing for you today.
Not today, but it seems like it. It's pretty cold.
She lives over by on Chautauqua Lake.
Oh, yes, Oh, I saw the frost on the grass this morning.
Yeah, well, actually, you know, very shortly it'll look like a little village out there, because all the ice fishermen have their little hooch.
Yeah.
And they have a heater in it, and they have some booze, and they take their girlfriend. You never know what's going on out there, but it looks like a village because there's dozens of these houses. We're with Nate Shinagawa. He's running for Congress in our area, and he's giving us a little bit of insight into some of the things that we were talking about before. Medicare, Medicaid, which seems to, the conversation seems to have gravitated toward health care, which they say the biggest question we have in the Congress right now is the economy.
Yeah.
But more and more people seem to be talking about their health care,
well,
which is heavily threatened at this point, under real threat.
Yeah.
For some reasons that are real, it's costing a lot of money.
Sure.
And it looks like Medicaid and Medicare both are going to rise sharply in terms of the number of people who need it, especially with so many people retiring, 10,000 a day now are retiring in this country. And right now it's heavily stressed because of the costs. It's going to be more heavily stressed, and they keep saying we're going to have to dump it. But as you pointed out, there are certain things you can do to improve it and cut back on the expenses.
Yes, that's right, without cutting services for folks.
Without cutting the services.
Yeah.
And one of those is to get after the, quote, insurance companies. This is the only country in the world that has these insurance companies where you've got to pay them to give you back some. And sometimes you get a little girl who's just graduated from high school saying, oh, we're going to deny that. She has no idea what she's talking about.
Yeah.
This is the way it's going on in this country. And as you say, you can deny people who are in life-saving situations or life-threatening situations.
Yeah.
Talk on.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we got two more phone calls.
Okay, all right.
You want to take them? Or you
yeah,
want to talk?
we can talk. We can take
them.
them.
Okay. Good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Hi,
Hello.
am I on?
Hello, you're on.
Hello. Yeah, I was wondering where he stood on the Second Amendment and gun rights.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. Now, with Second Amendment and gun rights, I believe that we have laws on the books. We should enforce them, but I don't propose any new laws.
They have 200,000 laws right now.
Yeah, exactly.
About guns.
Yeah.
And which takes them out of the hands of almost everybody, but you know, like the Sullivan law in New York State, you can't even afford to buy a pistol. Not to mention spend the years it takes. Caller, good call.
Yeah.
Did you get an answer you like?
Yeah, as much as the
and also I might add too that I've talked to the Shooters Committee on Political Education. I've done 2 meetings with them as well, where they asked me about each of my positions in a lot more detail too beyond that. And I think we had pretty good meetings, and you could probably talk to the folks. I did that over in Penn Yan. 1 membership meeting and then 1 big pig roast. I spoke to about 250 people at the Shooters Committee.
Well, thank you, caller. It does go to, I'm sure we're all agreed on the fact that guns should be kept out of the hands of the maniacs and nuts. But at the same time, it's at this point, when one gets a gun and starts shooting people, it's not affecting it's not anything to do with the rest of the public, which has a right to have have a gun in the house to save their arse. We'll put it that way.
And it's part of our Constitution and Bill of Rights.
Well, also incidentally, they didn't put that into law, according to Madison, who who'd had a lot to write about it. The Second Amendment came into law, but about the firearms. It's not for killing geese, it's for protecting yourself, and not from burglars, but from your own government. You could grab your old Betsy and go out in the street and start shooting, Lots of luck when they've taken all the big guns away. I think everybody should have a right to have a nuclear weapon or a bazooka or anything they want, try to get one. You have to go to Iran to get one.
I don't know if I'll agree with you on that one, Reed.
Right. But you should be allowed to have firearms, and you know there is a definite. The Democrats have been lambasted because of the fact that they're pretty liberal on cutting back on the firearms, and everybody says, "My God, we have so many laws right now. It's impossible to own a firearm almost in many areas."
And that's why, I mean, when people ask me, you know, how do you differ from the rest of the different Democratic Party, or can you name an issue? And this is the one that I name, because my position is very different from the rest of the National
God
Democratic
bless
Party.
you. You're in Chautauqua County. You know, up here we have a motto: you can never have too many guns. It's that simple, you know. Nick Shinagawa. Not quite in agreement with that one, I'm sure, but too many guns, too many tomatoes. He's talking about issues of interest. Do we have any callers that we haven't hung up by now? Okay, they're telling me they're waiting. They had one just hang up, unfortunately, because you know, we keep getting calls coming in, and I want to give you a little time to talk now. You did want to speak on certain other issues, which have come up in Congress that Mr. Reed hasn't really gotten into too closely. One is, of course, the question of the interruption of business by the Democrats and Republicans. I can't blame just the Republicans. And the fact that we, up here in Chautauqua County, we need real representation, and we may get it now. What do you think of that?
Well, I mean, I think it's shocking that Congress has worked less than 100 days this year. Less than 100 days. And they get paid $175,000, though, to have that position. Now, Reed, I don't know about you, but I mean, I don't have a job. I doubt you've ever had a job that paid you $175,000 to work less than 100 days or anywhere near close to that.
Right, better than that. When they retire, they keep getting the $100,000.
That's right. They keep getting it. On top of that, you know, they've been able to pay for, I mean, they've voted for pay increases for themselves.
Just not recently.
Oh, yeah, just recently. Meanwhile, when we were talking about this earlier, right, cost of living adjustments for Social Security haven't been taking into effect. And the power of a dollar in Social Security has gone down over the years.
And so terribly.
That's
what it was.
And I just think that Congress is, we have too many people that are in Congress right now that are in it for themselves. And what we need is representation that will actually work as many days as humanly possible to do the job of the American people. So that way we don't have things like the veterans bill. There's a veterans jobs bill right now. 50,000 veterans it would help out. Has no action because of this, because of the Republicans in Congress right now. You've got a farm bill that needs to be passed. It has bipartisan support in the Senate. And the House majority, the Republicans there, including Reed, don't want to pass it, right? You've got this sequester coming up that if we don't deal with it, it means the middle class will have huge increases in taxes. These are big issues that need to be dealt with right now. And I think it's shocking that Congress is not even in session right now to deal with these issues. If I get elected, I will work as hard as I can to help people out.
We're out of here.
Oh, yeah.
We just peeled out. It's over. You know? I want to give you about a half a minute just to close off, okay? This is your time. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Reed. Well, I just wanted to thank Reed and the Senior Report for allowing me to be on this show today. And, you know, I've spent a lot of time here in Chautauqua County ever since March. In fact, in the Dunkirk Observer, they did an article about me, and they started it out by saying it's like a second home to him. And that's exactly how it is. I've spent a lot of time in this community, and I love Chautauqua County. And I would be honored, absolutely honored, to represent the people of Chautauqua County if I'm elected in November.
Another Amo Houghton.
Yeah.
Boy, he was so popular.
Oh, yes. He was a great leader.
He makes glass or something.
Yeah. Yes, and also, by the way, Stan Lundeen is also a good friend.
Good friend of mine, too.
Oh, good. And he has been a wonderful supporter of our campaign, and he has taught me a lot about what it means to be a good congressperson for this area.
Believe it or not, I met Stan down on Long Island during the election down there when we had quite a furor, and he was in on that, and I met him. He's terrific.
Yeah.
All right, I want to thank all of you. Sorry, last caller. They tell me you're off the air now. We can't get it in. When you come back, will you?
Yes, absolutely. Then you got it, Reed.
We can talk. We'll catch that other caller. Yeah. I want to thank special people: Chuck Kelsey, Devin Taylor, Chris Burt, Randy Burt, Chris Remaker, Jeff Zook, Don Zenz, and all John Hamels. Last but not least, may all that is proud and true and noble abide with you. I'm Reed Powers.